going on with Aaron Rodgers, Tom? What's going on?
Aaron Rodgers has decisions to make. And I think that if you go back through the process Aaron Rodgers has gone through, really, I mean, going back to 5 years ago and the conversations with the Packers and how things played out there and some of the uncertainty, he's in a different stage in his life. It is, I know the comparisons are constant, but it's not unlike what was going on with Brett Favre toward the end of his career, where every year there was an evaluation process and thinking about what was going to be best for him and what he wanted to do. And those answers are not always quick to come. So at this point, the two options that Aaron Rodgers has in terms of the teams that are ready and willing to sign him are the Steelers and the Giants. The Steelers have made clear that that's their priority at this point, that they are willing to wait this thing out while also making contingency plans like re-signing Mason Rudolph yesterday. The Giants also are under the impression that they still have an opportunity here. Rodgers obviously makes his home in New Jersey. It would not be a long move for him. They may have more challenges than the Steelers in terms of being competitive in 2025, but they are still also interested in Aaron Rodgers. And then obviously you have the other options, one being you either wait or walk away altogether and simply say, I'm not going to sign anywhere right now and kind of let the rest of these chips fall, see how you're feeling through the course of the spring and the summer, see what opportunities might arise between now and then. And then you've got the long shot things like Minnesota that I would not say at this point, Rich, I cannot definitively tell you they're out, but I would also not say they're in. And the idea that they're negotiating with Aaron Rodgers or actively trying to bring him in is overstated, let's put it that way. Him and Kevin O'Connell have a relationship. They're about the same age. They're both California guys. They do talk. But the Vikings also have J.J. McCarthy, the number 10 overall pick from last year, who they want to make sure that whatever they do at the quarterback position, it's with J.J. McCarthy's short, medium, and long-term future in mind here. And so you've got a lot of moving parts, but the first biggest thing, and what Aaron Rodgers has not definitively told everyone is, yes, I 100% am all in, not just on playing in the season, but I'm going to be there through the spring on another new team, working with the receivers, learning the offense, going through all the different things to get ready. And again, going back to the Favre comparison, I'll remind everybody that after Favre's Jets year, the Vikings were the team that everyone believed he was going to. Favre did not sign that year until August 18th. It was 2 weeks into the preseason when he popped into town, and it was, one of the more memorable things that's happened in Minnesota sports history. I'm not saying that's the route that Aaron Rodgers is going to take, but just given his age, he's 41. He's got a lot of other things in his life. He can make a decision an hour from now, or it might take a while.
So when we see the paparazzi photos on the beach and the dramatic sort of White Lotus image here, is he pondering his future as a player? Like, is he thinking maybe not playing? Are you hearing that? Is that possible?
I wouldn't say it's a binary decision. It's about the places that you're going to be. I mean, remember, Aaron Rodgers, going back to the start of last year when he was coming off the Achilles, he was talking about being a Jet for 2 or 3 more years. He was talking about, staying in one place. And then for a variety of reasons, including the fact that he did not play well for a good chunk of the season, the Jets moved on without him. They signed Justin Fields, and now he's got to figure out a new part to this plan. I think that in Aaron Rodgers' mind, and only he ultimately knows what's going on in there, but he foresaw a beautiful ending coming back from the Achilles. And, he tried to come back at the end of 2023 if somehow they had made the playoffs. He was thinking 2024 he was going to come back and reestablish himself, and they were going to have a good 2-3 year run with a young core in New York. Instead, they went 5-12. Everybody got fired, and he got cut. I mean, that's not the way that he envisioned this thing ending. Certainly, the communication that teams have had, the involved teams, have been through his agent, Dave Dunn. It's not Aaron Rodgers on the phone with everybody constantly talking through these things. So right now, it's a waiting game. And the real question then becomes, when does Aaron Rodgers make a decision? And before that, do any of those involved teams pivot? Are any of those teams pushed to pivot by pressure points like the fact that Russell Wilson was visiting the Browns yesterday, and today he's with the Giants? I don't know that they made Russell Wilson an offer. If they did, I don't know that. But certainly, if there's an opportunity for him to go to Cleveland, that might speed up the process for some other teams. I would say the most likely scenario here, Rich, and this is a moving target in a lot of different ways. The most likely scenario, if Rodgers is playing, is that he's playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've not been told definitively one way or the other. But the Steelers, by virtue of signing Mason Rudolph, bought themselves some time here, because now, worst case, if this doesn't work out with Rodgers, you could just roll with Mason Rudolph, who, let's be honest, over the last several years with all the quarterback changes since Ben Roethlisberger retired, probably the best stretch of football they've played as an offense was down the stretch in 2023 when Mason Rudolph took over after multiple other quarterbacks, Pickett and Trubisky, had not been able to sustain a level of play. They played well. He got the ball to George Pickens. They went to the playoffs and he started a playoff game. I do think that there's a scenario. I can't tell you exactly what the percentage of likelihood it is, but I do think there's a scenario where other things fall through and the Steelers roll with Mason Rudolph and maybe a draft pick atop their depth chart in 2025.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.